The league, Chris, you said it. What's the league? Don't pick up the table.
31 teams tilt the table in Belichick's lap. Let me have all your garbage.
Right.
Let me have it. Give it to me. I'll do something with it.
Yeah, this is a huge pickup. When you look at what Sanu has been his entire career, he's been nothing but consistent. Model professional for young guys. You got a N'Keal Harry, first-round draft pick coming in. You got a lot of young guys, Jacoby Myers,
trying to figure
Phil
his
Dorsett.
way.
Obviously, you got Tom Brady in that locker room. You have Julian Edelman. But this is a guy who's consistent. He's been in the slot. He's played outside. He catches the ball. Catch radius is massive. On their team right now, roster-wise, their first leading receiver is Julian Edelman. Then it's James White. So if you throw in Mohamed Sanu, he would be their second leading receiver right now as he sits. And so it gives Tom Brady a sure-handed guy who is smart, who's going to pick up the playbook. I heard you earlier talking about they're going to have some small packages, 10, 15 plays. Mohamed Sanu is the type of guy that can take on a lot at one time because he's a very intellectual player. So I love the pickup for them.
I think he's also, based on some of the other, people always say the Patriot way. But as groups, you need leaders within that group. They brought in Josh Gordon last year. Josh has never been a great leader. Edelman's been the leader of that room. Then they brought in AB. They give him all this notoriety. They put the playbook in front of him, move him in front of everyone else. He wasn't a good leader, and then went flaming people as he went out the building. Now you bring in Sanu. You're talking about a guy who is the consummate pro.
Yes.
He is a perfect player for New England at this stage of his career. He's done everything but win. He's made money. He's got catches. He's got touchdowns. He's done everything but get that Lombardi trophy. So I think it was a great pickup by them. And the thing I like about players like Sanu, I don't want players who have to always get open. And I thought the most important thing that Greg said was catch radius, ginormous. So Tom Brady is going to feel so comfortable. That means even if the DB is matted up with me down the field, he knows that either I can catch a back shoulder fade, I can elevate over a guy.
Absolutely.
The quarterbacks have so much more confidence throwing to a 6'2" guy who's been in the league compared to street free agents. And I know those guys have done a good job for Tom Brady in the last couple of weeks in expanded role. But now you have a proven, what I call Sanu is, he is a professional route runner. He is a grown man. He has real things in his life. If you look at some of the things he's involved with, like he's a thoughtful person, like he fits in so... It should be illegal. It should be illegal.
Of course the Falcons are bad right at the time. The team with more wide receivers than anyone is bad the year that the Patriots desperately need.
One thing people should know is they tried to trade for him draft day.
Yeah.
The Falcons held on to him. Dimitroff, the general manager, of his relationship with Belichick, they held on to him until now, where their season is over with, and then they relinquish him for a number 2.
The Falcons justifiably win in the season thinking last year was a down year. We lost some games unluckily. The year before we were in the playoffs. The year before that we were in the Super Bowl. So we're going to be back this year. Little did they know, they're a 4th down conversion away from being down there with Cincinnati and Miami as far as the winless team. So this is a smart move by the Falcons. And, of course, it's a smart move by New England, but it also shows you the value Belichick puts on this season and this player. Second-round picks have been gold to Belichick. The reason the Patriots have been so successful at the draft is not because they draft better than other teams. They actually don't. They just nobody really drafts better than other teams. The Patriots, it's like a lottery. The Patriots just have more lottery tickets every year because they trade back. They acquire extra picks.
Yes.
Him sending a pick out, we saw him send a premium pick out a few years ago. A number 1 for who? A receiver, Brandon Cooks. They got a year of value out of him. He then wanted a new deal or was due for a new deal. They trade him for a number 1, so they recouped their money and got a year of service out of him. They spent a first-round pick on N'Keal Harry this year. The player's been injured, and even when he comes back, see, there is not a long list of rookie receivers over the last decade that make an instant impact. Like, there's a few guys, but most guys, even the...
Specifically in that system.
Absolutely right.
Yes.
And so when N'Keal Harry comes back, if he does, he's a big question mark. You know what Mohamed Sanu is. And I like that he hasn't been a number 1 receiver since Rutgers. I like that he played alongside A.J. Green and then alongside Julio Jones. And has always known, I can't expect 8, 9, 12 targets a game because in New England, he might get 12 targets targets in a game, and the next week he might get 2. Like, it's going to be however the game plan fits. It's a great move by New England. And their biggest position, you know, than offensive line, they just got better at because, of course, they did.
How much better? How much better did they get with this move?
A lot better.
I mean, did you have them coming out of the AFC?
Oh, yeah. I definitely have them coming out of the AFC. When you look at them defensively, just defensively, I mean, they've given up.
Yeah, their defense will get them to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. The last time their defense allowed shutouts or created shutouts in 2016, one time, they went on to win the Super Bowl. The time they did it duplicate times in the season, which back in the early 2000s, 2003, I think it was, they won the Super Bowl. So their defense can do it again this year.
The Patriots, go ahead.
Another thing with Belichick, he looks out on the horizon. Julio Jones has been complaining about a contract for the last year and a half. During training camp, they said they was going to give him a contract. Julio told me after Michael Thomas got $20 million, ain't no need for me to play football unless they give me way more than that. He gets the $22 million, but they knew they had to get rid of someone. Calvin Ridley is the first-round pick. So Sanu was there to be had by anyone. If you know anything about football,
yes,
you know they're going to have to get rid of him because they're paying Julio. And they got another first-round pick in Ridley from Alabama.
And the Falcons,
so, of course, when you're smarter, like New England.
The Patriots know the Falcons are in cap hell next year. And Sanu, by the way, this isn't just a rental. The Patriots have Sanu now for next season as well. It's $6 million. And absolute. But you mentioned you have them going to the Super Bowl. The Patriots have to win 2 games this year. To me, they are in the AFC Championship game. We know they're getting a bye. Do we think they are going to lose that first home game after the bye? No. So they have to win the AFC Championship game. That'll be either against Kansas City or Baltimore, most likely. I guess Indy or Houston can't be disregarded. And they got to win the Super Bowl. I know you guys have them as heavy favorites against anyone in the AFC. We'll see how Kansas City looks.
Yeah, welcome to our show.
But we're
8 weeks into the season. Jen and I said this opening day.
Well, you guys, I don't have them in the Super Bowl. But regardless, if they get there, the NFC's got some real damn teams now. And the Patriots wide receivers and lack of wide receivers, if they were to get to the Super Bowl, could have been exploited. This now makes it much harder for it to be exploited.
7-0 Patriots just got a little bit better.
Of course they did. Why not?
Greg, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Take a break. Coming up, who's going to be the MVP of the NBA season? We're already discussing that. Oh, by the way, the season doesn't start till tonight. That's next on First Things First.
You think the guy has played some special teams in the past? He's got a background. He came from Rutgers. Coach Belichick has I mean, he loves players from Rutgers. There's a number of players from Rutgers on the roster. He also feels the void for Josh Gordon. To me, it lets me know that the Josh Gordon injury is a little more severe. Well, why? Well, why'd they go after a big receiver compared to the small guys that they have? They have 3 small guys now outside of Edelman. The 3 small guys will play the Z receiver, which is to the tight end side. Edelman will continue to play the slot. Ben Watson, as we saw last night, will rejuvenate that tight end position. He is a good blocker. He is an ample receiver. Great guy to have in the locker room. So Mohamed Sanu will help have that physical presence, and he's a great guy. I'm surprised, San Francisco 49ers, because Sanu had played with Kyle Shanahan before in that Atlanta offense. 49ers need a wide receiver. So Bill Belichick, I keep telling you guys, the whole league, all 31 teams is tilted right in his bosom. People might say, well, that's a 2nd-round pick. They got a great season. So would you give up a 2nd-round pick to ensure that you have a dependable wide receiver, a good route runner, a big body, someone for Tom Brady to be able to get him his 7th Super Bowl? So that's what Bill Belichick in the front office and the Patriots. While everyone else is sitting there out talking about, oh, Sam Darnold, he's seeing ghosts. He's out there realizing that team last night is still not good enough. He's trying to improve while we're sleeping. Classic Patriots move.
Last year, Sanu, 800 yards, 4 touchdowns. This year's numbers down, but the whole team's numbers are down in Atlanta because they're having such a miserable season. He becomes last night, their number 2 option was Jacoby Myers, an undrafted kid who, by the way, played well in the preseason and maybe one day is going to turn into a really legitimate NFL player. But now you've got a guy with a real track record. People will remember him in Cincinnati, I would imagine. He alongside A.J. Green. Then he goes to Atlanta. He plays alongside Julio Jones. He'd kind of been X'd out of his spot a bit by Calvin Ridley. But he's 6'2", a guy with reliable hands. Cris talked about his skills as a receiver. But when if you're matching up with New England now, it is Philip Dorsett, we know what he is. Josh Gordon, in a negative way, we kind of don't know what he is right now, and he's dealing with injuries. This was their biggest position of need. That was at a position